If you like what you see here at the channel, please give a like and please subscribe. It really helps out the channel and I can put out more content, and I try to do something at least once a week. Okay everybody, it's the next day. We're back and I have our two Siamese wraps. And if you're not familiar with what a Siamese wrap is, it's when the pages were put together when they printed, and in case you're ever wondering what they look like, they're printed in a giant sheet and then they're folded and trimmed and cut. Now this one, unfortunately, as was common in a lot of Golden Age books, ended up with the Siamese wrap where the pages were joined, and the owner, when they bought this book originally, probably wanted to read the story, and so they used their finger. That was that. So what we've done today, yesterday really, is I went ahead and I did the deacidification, followed by a blue light treatment. The pages are a bit whiter. And then we rehumidified and then repressed, because ultimately this is going to get wet again because we have to do the repairs. However, what I needed to do is make sure that we actually had a perfect alignment. No pieces were missing. And you can see this black line right here. That is the cut mark. And the other thing I want to point out, this page is aligned right up until the spine right here. So I get my fat hand out of the way. As you see, everything's perfect, then all of a sudden we get a gap here. What this gap is, and when we go to trim this page, which is the decision I made to do, we're just going to do the repair, and we're going to do the repair like this. This is going to be a little bit of a complication because we're dealing with two wraps and they're both going to be wet. So there is a huge challenge here. So I'm going to have to be very, very careful. I'm going to be doing some very close-up work. I have my goggles, and I'll try to do the best to have a camera up close so you can see everything. But anyway, what my point was, is when these books are trimmed, once they're folded up in a full comic book, the edges are trimmed. They're not always straight. And this one clearly was not straight. So we're not going to, when we do the trim, we're going to line up on this page only and not across the whole thing. Just the top of this page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Tengujo paper and wheat paste on this. So far I'm happy with the light brown Tengujo paper, so I think that's what we're going to try on this. So we're going to get it wet again, which is how we work with the Tengujo paper in this particular area. Since the page has been cleaned, I'm going to try and keep isolated just this one area, and we'll peel back everything and work from there. It may end up, depending on how things go, we have to get both wraps fully wet. Because what happens is if you have a dry piece of paper, a wet piece of paper, there's going to be contraction. And I think I just talked myself into getting both pieces wet. And we'll just wet align everything. And we'll do the repair. We'll take it back to the press. We'll dry it. We'll do everything in the heat press, and then we'll come back out and take a look at it. And when I trim it, I have a nice scalpel here. It's a brand new blade. It's a number 23 scalpel blade, which is very sharp and it's perfect for doing this kind of work. We want to cut it one time, not saw it in half. So in the end, we will have a repair that hopefully is barely noticeable, but we're going to keep it to a minimum. As I said, this is going to be a conserved book when it's done. We will submit it to CGC as a conserved with the conservation notes. All right, so let's move on. 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 Okay, we're back. Now, I saved you the trouble of suffering through how I got these wet and then dried them off. They're not completely dry. This is the Tengujo, or not the Tengujo, the Hollytex. And what we're going to do is I'm going to peel this back a bit and do the same thing with the other piece. And then we're going to very carefully try to align things using a wet method. So I have my wheat paste here. I have my Tengujo paper, the brown for the patch. And now I'll go ahead and switch over to the close-up camera for you. Okay, so what we have is the pieces of paper. So this is going to be the challenging part. So I'm going to very, very gently. This piece is torn already, don't panic. It was already part of the repair plan, but I don't wish to tear it any more than I already have. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, we're going to leave that. I think it's easiest just to move the upper panel into position. I'm going to just roll this whole thing back. And we're going to be very, very careful here. I do not wish to tear this. This is a very difficult and challenging operation, as they say. Scoop this Hollytex back up. And I'll do my best to keep my 4-letter words to a minimum. This is a family channel, after all. Okay, so this is now situated on the Hollytex, so I can move this around quite a bit. And we want to get the perfect alignment, so I am going to put on my goggles here. And make sure we're still looking at the, yeah, we are, okay. Make sure you guys can see what I can see. All right, so I have got my head in here. I'm sorry if I'm blocking your light. And I've got to get in here nice and close so we can get this aligned perfect. And this is one of these things we have to kind of do right the first time out. And please don't try this at home, kids. All right, looks like we're getting the back end here is lined up fairly well. And looks like we think we may have it. Okay. Now the only thing is right here. I need to very, very gently align this lower tear, make sure the lettering lines up correctly. Double check all of this. Looking good here. And of course, if I don't move it, that's even better. All right. So what I'm going to do, like I said, this is very challenging. So I'm going to give it a little bit of moisture here. That's just water. Oops, I think I just moved the camera on you guys. I apologize for that. Okay, everything looks like it's lining up well. I need to move this one more time. This is one of those don't breathe things, folks. Okay. So I think I got that. So what I have is my wheat paste, and I had a piece of Tengujo paper that was just right, but I think I actually set my camera mount down on top of it because, oh, no, there it is. I just found it. Disregard. Okay. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here, and I've got to, I apologize if I block you guys out for a second, but I got to get my fingers in here. And then we've got to lay it right on top of here. Don't breathe, Larry. And Dr. Paul from Liberty Hill Comics, if you're watching, this is all your fault because you got me into this. If you haven't visited any Dr. Paul's videos, I highly recommend it. Okay, so standard deal. We've got wheat paste here, and this was warmed up in the microwave oven, and we're going to go ahead and put this in here, and we are going to pull away from the patch. Because we tore the Tengujo paper, we want all those little fibers to be stringy. And let me scoop this up. We want them to be stringy. And we're going to brush them away from the main wound. And this wheat paste will blend in to the paper, and everything, the new paper and the old paper basically become one. And if I screw this up, we can always redo it. But hopefully we don't have to do that. I do have a little bit of a gap I can see now through the wet paper. Let's see what that looks like when we're done. Okay, and as for this tear right here, I'm going to put another small piece of Tengujo right there, but I don't want to put it over across the actual panel. So let me tear a little piece off here. And we just, there's no good side to which side of the page you want to do. Obviously you want to do the back side if you want to do a spine repair or something along those lines. That when both pages are visible, as is on this, it just makes it a little bit more challenging. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this right there. And I'll push this down a little bit. And then we'll brush that in as well. And don't worry about these big globs. I take those up with the paintbrush. Similar to that. I'll clean the brush and we scoop them all up. And I use a technique that some of the other guys use. Okay. I think we got a good repair alignment. And we'll be able to cut this and it'll look nice when it's done. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this Hollytex and I'm going to roll it right over the top of the repair. And I'm going to use my finger here. I'm going to get a little bit more moisture. There we go. And by putting some weight in this with my finger, not much, I'm just using light pressure. It takes all those, any little bit of extra wheat paste. It kind of smashes it out, and it'll separate into the holly text. And we'll go ahead and remove that out. Okay, I'm running my hands over this right now. It feels very smooth. Everything looks good. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and bring this upper piece back over here. And again, we want to, basically we're rejoining the two wraps, the Siamese wraps, and recreating it as though it came right off the press. All right, so now the difficult part. Fortunately, I have a large heat press now, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can get these pages rebonded so we can cut them. So we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, just a quick tour. I have a large heat press. I'm using 2 pieces of galvanized steel on the bottom. And from there, we're going to go ahead and place backer boards. Just like this. Align that nicely. And we are going to go ahead and do the same thing out of our sandwich. And you're saying, oh, you're going to get lines, Larry. No, don't worry about that. The lines will come out. This is just to get this together so we can get the wheat paste dry. And then we can go ahead and cut the pages. All right, so then I'm going to take 11 by 17 paper and put that over here. And another sheet on the opposite side. And then I'm going to go ahead and go get the pieces and we'll show you what it looks like. Okay, now here's our repaired wrap. It's in the heat press, and I'm going to cover it up with the identical sandwich on the top side. And the countdown has started. Okay. The heat press is done. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at this. I'm going to go ahead and everything looks good. It's nice and dry. Our repair is right under here. I'm just going to lift this up. I'm not going to separate this Tengujo paper just yet. So we're going to move this over to the table and we'll take a look at it up close. Okay, we're back. All right, this has been in the heat press now. We dried it under pressure. Now remember, both pages were wet. This is a technique that I use, but we had to be very, very careful with this repair. So now I'm going to gently take off the holly text. Now these 2 pieces are slightly bonded to the repair, so I'm going to gently remove the bottom piece here. Now what we're going to do, and I'll take some close-up pictures of this, is to loosen this area up. I'm going to use a Teflon coated spatula, and we're going to just gently go in here and just ever so gently chisel away that any glue that may have bonded to the holly text. And remember, it's a non-woven fabric, so stuff does not like to stick to it, which is one reason why we use it in the conservation business. So I'm right on top of the repair right now, and I'm being very, very gentle here, because I don't want to do this again, because it can be kind of nerve-wracking doing a repair like this. All right, so I think we got it. Yep, that's it. All right, there is that piece. And we've successfully rejoined Siamese twins, basically. Now you see the discoloration. I did choose to use a brown Tengujo versus the white. I found the white to be very stark white, and that could be a problem for this creamy colored page. So again, I'm going to be very gentle here, and we'll remove the secondary sheet here from the back side. Again, nice and gentle. Oh, okay, that one didn't stick too badly. Okay, so now we have rejoined Siamese twins, and what we're going to do now is actually do some surgery and separate the twins, and hopefully all the pieces will be in the proper place. So let me take some close-up pictures of this, and you can see it. Okay, now for the moment of truth as to actually separate these. Now, I've got my straight edge right here, and we'll line this up on the page. And I have a brand new, fresh number 23 scalpel. So everything is going to be nice and tight cuts, and we'll go across this line the way it was originally meant to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and shift the camera a little bit because I've got to get my head in here to make sure the cut is perfect. Okay, here we go. So I apologize, I've got my head in here, but I have got to make sure we do this just right. Okay, I think maybe best to do this. Okay, everybody, I apologize, I've got to stick my head in here. So if you're looking at the back of my head, it's probably the better looking part. So let me go ahead and line everything up with the straight edge where I want to make my surgical incision, so to speak. Okay, I think we got it right there. And I cannot slip, you only get one try at this. So I think we got it right there. Okay, here we go. And I am no doctor, but we are going to do our best not to slip. Okay, I think we got it. All right, so let's take a closer look at this. So this was the page with the main tear. It had a minor tear in here. And as you can see, up closer, there we go, that's a little bit better. There's for focus. And let's take a look at the back side here. And almost not noticeable, you can see a little bit of the repair there. There's a little hair, I'll take that off. But all in all, this page looks good. Now let's take a look at the other piece. And again, this is the repair. Slight discoloration, but all in all, I would say we had a very successful surgery and rejoining the page. And you can see right there is the very barely even noticeable right there is the patch. Okay, so these two wraps are complete, and I think we're getting closer and closer to reassembly now. And as always, if you like what you see here at the channel, please like and subscribe. I try to put out a video at least once a week. that's supposed to be educational and to help you conserve your comics and make your collection last for years to come.